If you're moving to Wellington or Royal Palm Beach and you know one thing for sure, that you do not want to live in a neighborhood with an HOA, a homeowners association, then this video is for you. Because yes, there are still some great non-HOA neighborhoods in this part of Palm Beach County, but they're not all the same. Some are better for first-time home buyers, some are better for families, some have larger homes and bigger lots, and others are more centrally located if you want to be close to certain schools, shopping, or the Wellington equestrian scene. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 of the most popular non-HOA neighborhoods in Royal Palm Beach and Wellington. Compare what they actually feel like, talk about the pros and cons of each, and help you figure out which one might be the best fit for you. Now, before I jump in, I do want to clarify something. When I say non-HOA, I do not mean that anything goes. These are still neighborhoods inside Royal Palm Beach and Wellington, so there are still municipal codes and certain, rules and standards that have to be followed. This is not the same as if you're moving out to Loxahatchee or the acreage, where you may have a lot more freedom and more unpredictability as well. So if you're looking for a more traditional neighborhood, but you want more flexibility than an HOA community would offer you, then these are some of the neighborhoods I'd suggest you take a look at. Counterpoint Estates. If your goal is to get into a single family home at the most affordable price point possible, Counterpoints is one of those neighborhoods that I'd want you to know about. Counterpoint is a really practical, budget conscious Royal Palm Beach option. And it's a good fit for first-time home buyers, someone who wants a detached house, single-family home, without paying for the HOA fees, or even somebody in the trade service business who wants to be able to get up, get on the road quickly, be close to 441 and Southern Boulevard without driving through a large neighborhood first thing in the morning. Counterpoint, you're generally looking at homes roughly in the $425,000 to $525,000 range. Most of the homes are going to be on the smaller side compared to some of the other neighborhoods we'll talk about today. Usually around 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, and the lot sizes are typically about 0.20 acre. There are around 929 total properties in Counterpoint Estates, and the neighborhood is made up of several different phases. It was built over a long period of time, so there is some variation from one section to another. And you'll also see more frame houses here rather than CBS that we'll find in some of the other neighborhoods that we're going to talk about. Now, in terms of feel, Counterpoint is definitely more basic and practical than it is polished. You certainly have some pride of ownership that shows, but you'll also have a mix of rentals, and that results in more turnover than you'll see in some of the other neighborhoods. So if you're looking for the prettiest, most charming neighborhood in the video, Counterpoint might not be that. But if you're looking for something affordable, convenient, and without an HOA, it absolutely deserves a look. One of the perks here is it's easier to find a property where you may be able to keep a boat or work trailer on the side of your house than you would in a homeowners association neighborhood. And the residents also have access to Counterpoint Estates Park, which has basketball courts, playgrounds, picnic areas, and there's a few other spots in there as well. So for Counterpoint is a neighborhood for the buyer who says, I need a single family home, I don't want an HOA fee, and I want to stay in Royal Palm Beach. And I need to keep the price point as affordable as possible. Now, if you like the idea of Royal Palm, and you want something that feels a little more established, maybe a little more charming, then I'd take a look at the Willows. The Willows is one of those neighborhoods that feels older and comfortable in a really nice way. It has a lot of charm, and it has more of that people raise their families here feel than Counterpoint might offer. Counterpoint is the more practical option, entry level. I would say Willows is the next step up in a little bit larger homes. In the Willows, homes generally run from about $425,000 to $575,000, typically staying under the $600,000 range. Most of the homes are around 1,200 to 2,100 square feet on roughly about a quarter acre lot. And the neighborhood is made up of around 1,500 single-family homes. Most of them were built in the 1970s through the mid-1980s. One of the things I like about the Willows is that it still feels approachable for the first-time home buyer, or a buyer trying to get into a single family home that has a little more personality than some of the basic neighborhood. It feels like a place where people know each other, where families have stayed for a long time, and where you can still get a little bit of yard, a little bit of breathing room without stepping into a much higher price point. Another interesting feature in the Willows is that some of the homes back up to a navigable canal. I want to be clear, this is not a take your boat out on the intercoastal situation. These canals are landlocked and managed for local drainage and water control. But they still can be a great feature if you like the idea of having water behind your house and maybe using a kayak, paddleboard, canoe, or a very small boat. So for the right buyer, that's definitely a nice bonus. Location-wise, the Willows is also very convenient. You're close to Commons Park, shopping, and day-to-day Royal Palm Beach conveniences like Publix and other retail. Now the trade-off here is you're still in the Royal Palm Beach school zone. So school ratings are a major factor for you. That's something you're going to want to look at closely based on your own priorities. But don't forget, Royal Palm schools do have some really great choice programs available. And also, because these homes are older, updates are going to vary a lot from property to property. So for me, the Willows is a great fit for someone who wants a Royal Palm Beach single family home, no HOA, wants a little more charm and yard space than Counterpoint offers, and wants that connected neighborhood feel without stepping way up in the price point. Now, if you want to stay in Royal Palm and you're looking for larger homes and larger lots, and the next move up neighborhood I'd look at is La Mancha. La Mancha gives you the freedom of no HOA, but it has more of that true community neighborhood feel. The kind of place where kids know each other, meet up at the park, and grow up together. La Mancha has about 1,546 single-family homes, and the homes here are generally larger than what you'll find in the other two neighborhoods. Price-wise, you're usually looking starting at $450,000, and it can go up to $725,000. The homes tend to run around 1,700 square feet to 2,800 square feet. And the lots are often a quarter acre, with some of them getting closer to the half acre, which is a big plus for buyers who want a little bit more space. And one of the things that makes La Mancha stand out and present like a neighborhood is it has its own dog park, playground, basketball courts, through the access to Todd A. Robner Park. It feels like this park belongs to them because it's surrounded by the homes in La Mancha. And it's one of those neighborhoods where there's a strong sense of community without the structure of the HOA. A fun fact about La Mancha is it's known locally for Halloween. It's a big neighborhood event for Halloween. People decorate, kids flock there, it becomes community-wide. So if you're someone who likes that kind of connected community feel, that's part of La Mancha's charm. La Mancha can also work really well for someone who wants to park a boat, trailer, or a work vehicle at the house without any restrictions. The larger lots definitely make that more realistic than some of the other neighborhoods. Now, the trade-offs here are straightforward. You're still in the Royal Palm Beach school zone, and there are some rentals and investor-owned homes within the mix. So even though I would say the majority are owner-occupied, the presence is strong for year-round residents, but you are going to get some rentals within the neighborhood. So if I were simplifying Royal Palm Beach, I'd think of it like this. Counterpoint is the practical, budget-conscious first-time homebuyer option. The Willows is a little more charming, established, family option. And then La Mancha is the move-up neighborhood with bigger lots, bigger homes, and more of a community feel. Let's move over to Wellington. Wellington buyers are often looking not just at the house itself, but also at the schools. The equestrian influence, the seasonal rental potential, and how close they are to all things that make Wellington unique. Sugar Pond Manor, if I had to pick the classic Wellington neighborhood, it would probably be Sugar Pond. Sugar Pond is one of the original foundational neighborhoods in Old Wellington, and it really has that hometown Wellington feel. It's one of those neighborhoods that people think of when they think traditional Wellington living with no HOA. Sugar Pond is a larger neighborhood with more than 2,000 residences, and it's a little different from the Royal Palm neighborhoods because it has a broader mix of housing. You'll find single-family homes, townhomes, villas, and multifamily units within Sugar Pond, and not just one type of housing, and it's pretty spread out. Homes were built mostly in the early 1980s through the 2000s. And for single family homes, you're generally looking at prices from around $520,000 to $850,000, with the sizes ranging from about 1,500 square feet to just under 3,000 square feet. And the lots average on about a quarter acre. What I like about Sugar Pond is that it feels very Wellington. Families move there for the schools, and there's definitely a neighborhood charm to it. It's established, it's comfortable, and it has a lot of broad appeal for buyers who want a Wellington address without paying HOA fees or moving into a gated community. It also has a nice overlap with the equestrian and seasonal crowd. A lot of equestrians will own property in Sugar Pond and keep their horses somewhere else. And the neighborhood is known to have a seasonal rental component. Some owners will rent their homes out during the season for 3 to 6 months, which can be a really nice way to offset the cost of ownership if that's something you're interested in. In fact, Wellington's known for that in many of the communities. So for me, Sugar Pond is a strong fit for the buyer who wants a Wellington address to access the Wellington schools, a traditional neighborhood feel in a non-HOA setting without jumping into the larger lot luxury neighborhoods. Now, the downside to Sugar Pond is simple. It's not cheap anymore. It used to be a more obvious value play than it is today. And because it's an older neighborhood, some of the homes have been beautifully updated while others still need some work. So you really have to look at the individual property and not just assume that every house in Sugar Pond is going to feel the same. If Sugar Pond is the classic Wellington neighborhood, then I'd like to think of South Shore as the more practical, centrally located Wellington option. South Shore is a really good neighborhood for the buyer who wants to be in the middle of Wellington, close to the amphitheater, close to town square, close to shopping, close to the equestrian venues, and doesn't necessarily need the more polished upscale feel of Greenview Shores. South Shore has around 1,170 total housing units, and it's a pretty mixed neighborhood in terms of housing types. There's a large footprint of single-family homes, but there's also villas, townhomes, and patio-style homes mixed into certain sections. It was built gradually between the 1970s and the early 2000s, so the architecture can feel very different depending on which part of the neighborhood you're in. Price-wise, detached homes in South Shore are generally in the $450,000 up to $800,000 range, while some of the attached villas and townhomes may be more in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. Floor plans can be anywhere from 900 square feet in some of the villas all the way up to 3,600 square feet in some of the larger homes. I'd say the average homes, single family home is around 1,500 to 2,200 square feet. I'd say it's quiet, practical, and established. It's got mature tropical trees, family-friendly cul-de-sacs, and a more lived-in neighborhood dynamic. It doesn't have a grand presentation of Greenview Shores, but that's not really what South Shore is trying to be. It's more of a functional, central Wellington neighborhood. The biggest selling point of South Shore is the location. It sits right near Forest Hill Boulevard, and depending on where you are in the neighborhood, you're very close to the Wellington Amphitheater and Town Square and restaurants and seasonal events and all the day-to-day Wellington conveniences. For someone who wants to be in Wellington but being near the action, that's a huge plus. South Shore can be a really good fit for a first-time home buyer trying to get into Wellington, a downsizer wanting a more manageable size home, a seasonal equestrian worker, or someone who wants to be close to the showgrounds, and the Wellington lifestyle without paying for a gated community. Now, the trade-offs here are that South Shore has more density than Sugar Pond, and because of the attached home pockets, you may have a single-family home on a cul-de-sac, but still have a cluster of villas or townhomes nearby. And because the neighborhood was built over such a long time, you can absolutely have a beautifully renovated house sitting next to something that still feels very 1980s. Homes closer to Forest Hill can also deal with a little more traffic noise or event traffic than some of the other neighborhoods. So if Sugar Pond is the hometown neighborhood Wellington, I'd say South Shore is the more practical Wellington neighborhood. If what you really want is a larger home, larger lot, more curb appeal, and a more polished suburban feel than the Wellington neighborhoods we've talked about, I'd be looking at Greenview Shores. Greenview Shores is probably the premier suburban non-HOA neighborhood in Wellington. If someone told me they wanted a larger home, maybe 4 to 5 bedrooms, a pool, quarter acre, and wanted it to feel a little more upscale without being gated, Greenview would absolutely be one of the first places I'd look at. Greenview Shores is a large multi-phase neighborhood with roughly 1,400 to 1,500 total residences and was built over multiple decades by multiple builders. That means it's broken into different sections and villages, places like Greenview Shores 1 and 2, Greenview Shores North, and it spans a pretty big footprint centered around Greenview Shores Boulevard and extending towards Wellington Trace. The vast majority of the homes in Greenview are larger single family, though there are some attached pockets mixed into certain sections. Price-wise, you're generally looking at the $650,000 up to $1 million plus range, and the lot sizes are often around a quarter acre. Home sizes are typically bigger than South Shore and often bigger than Sugar Pond, with many of the homes in the 1,600 to 3,100 plus square foot range. What really sets Greenview apart is its broad, sweeping, classic suburban feel. It's more manicured, more upscale, and more polished than some of the other neighborhoods we've talked about. And in many cases, you'll see larger footprints, bigger garages, and more dramatic roof lines, and in general, just more of that move-up suburban neighborhood look. Another thing Greenview Shores has going for it is the water. The neighborhood is built around Lake Greenview Shores and Lake Wellington, with canals and water features woven throughout. Now again, this is not ocean boating or intercoastal access, but it does create a really pretty setting. Some homes have a scenic lake or canal view, and it's a great fit for someone who likes the idea of kayaking, paddleboarding, or just a water backdrop in the neighborhood. Greenview is a strong fit for growing families who want more space, buyers who want a pool, buyers who want more upscale neighborhood feel, and all of that without the HOA rules. The trade-off is pretty simple. You pay for Greenview Shores. It carries a premium, and in some cases you may pay a little more per square foot just because of the neighborhood and the status that it holds. Like all of these older neighborhoods, updates will vary, so you still need to look carefully at the age of the roof, plumbing, renovations, and overall condition. So if I were simplifying Wellington, I'd say Sugar Pond is the classic hometown Wellington, non-HOA neighborhood. South Shore is a more practical central Wellington option, and Greenview Shores is the more polished, move-up suburban Wellington neighborhood. So those are the 6 main non-HOA neighborhoods I would want you looking at if you were trying to decide between Royal Palm Beach and Wellington. Hopefully what you can see is that there really isn't one best option across the board. It depends on what you need. If you're trying to keep the budget lower and just want a detached home without the extra fees, maybe that points you more toward Counterpoint. If you want a neighborhood charm and a little more yard without going too high in price, check out the Willows. If you want to move up Royal Palm neighborhood with a stronger community feel, I'd say let's look at Mancha. If Wellington schools and the classic Wellington neighborhood feel matter most, we'd talk about Sugar Pond. If you want to be right in the middle of Wellington, close to the amphitheater, the equestrian scene, and everything that's happening, maybe that's South Shore. And if you want a larger home, more curb appeal, more upscale, then I'd say let's go to Greenview Shores. If you're trying to decide which of these neighborhoods is the best fit for your budget, lifestyle, schools, priorities, or the amount of freedom you want from your property, I'd be happy to help. Every buyer's situation is different, and choosing the right neighborhood can make all the difference. If you have questions or you're planning a move to Palm Beach County, please reach out. My contact information is below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you're still researching your move to Palm Beach County, click on the next video. It's another video that YouTube thinks that you'll find helpful, and we'll see you next time.